All right, guys, good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the YouTube channel. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, little black logo, click on that. Turn on notifications, subscribe to our channel. Make sure to hit that like button if you like these videos. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. Let me go ahead and make sure that I have this set. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and go over it. Big week this week, so let's get to work. Dow futures up 129 points, Nasdaq futures up 0.22%, S&P up 0.35%, Russell 2000 up 0.38% at 1815. Crude oil bouncing back a little bit from overnight weakness, up 2%, 96.62 a barrel. $3.07 for gasoline futures, right now up 1.72. Gold futures down 0.24%, 1723 an ounce, 1849 per silver, down 0.66. Bitcoin futures down about 2.76% this morning on the future side. We'll call it 22,000. Ethereum 1534 up 0.36%. Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. Euro dollar, again, continuing to climb higher. Remember, we hit parity. We were at 1.0000. We're 245 pips above that now. Remember, I talked about them. Like, that's kind of the time where you start want to, go ahead and buy, in a sense, to go long. I have not gone long euro dollar as of yet. Obviously, we have the Fed coming up. So, again, kind of euro dollar positions I kind of just want to wait on. Dollar yen, 136.55, up another 46 pips. The dollar index is down 0.42%, 106.28. And we have the 10-year yield at 2.838%, with the VIX at 23.90. I don't think I need to say exactly how busy this week is going to be. I went ahead and sent out on Instagram the top 5 things you should know about this morning. I send that every morning. That's free for y'all. And we also have the Forex Factory economic data that's coming out. That came out already. So again, you could take a look on Instagram. We have that and then the earnings. So tons to go forward to. Let's go ahead and kind of preview the week in a sense, since we don't have tons of news right now. The real news that stands out today is that Apple prepares rare iPhone discount for China buyers. That's from Bloomberg. Citi and UBS Wealth say U.S. earnings are holding up better than feared. Chicago Fed National Index down negative 0.19%, estimated 0.03%, and Tesla plans boost spending plans to as much as $8 billion a year. This is from Bloomberg. Also, Morgan Stanley and JPM disagree on Fed policy pause outlook. So the word pause is in effect now. Now that's important. Remember, we talked about how important the Fed pivot is. Again, the Fed is going to lead us. Well, the Fed led us into this. The Fed will lead us out of this. So again, when you have tightening cycles in the business cycle, you usually get lower equities because the dollar goes higher as rates increase. As we know, dollar has increased. So looking at it here, commodities have been down. We kind of had been seeing that. Let's take a look at S&P futures. Again, just going to keep it very short term right now, and then we'll go over the data. I am long on a small position on S&P futures. Again, this trend line is holding up. You could see pretty much to the T, 39.50. That was my entry. We're about 30 pips, 30 points to the upside. Again, 4,000 is my level that I'm looking for. Probably look to go in short there. If we get a continuation up, then we have a little more upside, possibly to 40.40 if we follow that resistance line to the upside. So again, just watching the market, seeing if 4,000 does hold. The key levels to hold here is 39.50 short term. If that breaks down, then you want to short to 3,900 because that's your next trend line. Let me go ahead and bring this up. And you could see, again, just from point here back to the 26th of June, all the way down, we've been kind of holding that. We finally broke above it. But again, I would like to see a recheck of 3,900, possibly that 38.90, 200-day moving average, and possibly buy that. Again, I just prefer a recheck of the previous breakout level and to see if it bounces back, to see if it's bullish. That's really the only things I'm looking for in terms of S&P futures, 4,000. I'll probably scale out, move my stops as we go along there. But 40.40 would be your next resistance. If we go and bring this up on the daily, again, you could see that same trend line. It's very similar to Bitcoin, similar to NASDAQ. Again, just a trend line down. Now we have a little bit of a bounce here, higher lows. We broke out, and then you could see this trend line here is what we had before. And then you have this megaphone formation there, pretty much just holding there. That's all we could do right now. since we have so much coming on. Let's go to Forex Factory and see the what we have coming up. Tuesday, so not much today. We had some Chicago industrial news, I think that was called. Chicago Fed National Activity Index, excuse me. So again, not really a big mover, let's just say. Wednesday, the big day, we have the federal funds rate. Again, I expect 75 basis point increase. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised there. Well, let's hear from Powell that day at 2:30 and see what he says about a pivot. August, there is no Fed. There is no Fed in August. There is in September. So now we're looking forward to September. I think we get the 75 basis points and we see where we go from there. In terms of advanced GDP, Thursday is probably the most important one to me. Because if it is negative, we have negative GDP, we're officially in a recession. Regardless what anyone says, that is the textbook definition. The White House is already kind of softening that blow. Softening that blow. That's not a political statement. That's just reality. They're basically saying that, oh, it's not really a recession if it's negative. It's already planning for the worst possibility scenario. But again, if in a way we get that official recession level advance, again, this is advanced, not final GDP. Let's say if we get that advance warning that we have negative growth in GDP, the forecast is 0.4%. Again, if we have a negative GDP number, that's where the Fed may back off, and that actually might be a little bullish. If it is positive, depending on how positive it is, again, we don't know. Again, let's say if it meets in line, then the Fed may have a little more ammo because they're not in a recession. If it is, and we're actually in one, then we're kind of a little bit in trouble when it comes to that. Not in trouble, at least the announcement would be made that we're possibly in a recession. But again, that's when maybe the Fed might pivot. And again, it's really important to look at the CPI next month and the PPI next month, the inflationary readings. We have to get at least some down readings, and we should because commodity prices have fallen. So again, that's at Thursday at 8:30. We'll go over that number on Thursday morning. Friday, we have core PCE numbers. That's the number that the Fed looks at in terms of inflationary data. That's why it's very important. And then we have revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday. We got some core durable goods orders. Again, we already know that we're kind of in a service economy now, kind of a shift from goods to services. That's really the only thing that stands out. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other macro here. Let's take a look at the volatility index, good old VIX. We do have a gap to fill right at 2314. That'll get us back down to that trend line. As you can see here, nice trend line, but we broke out of it, hence that weakness that we had on Friday afternoon. So again, I expect this to fill, get it down to 2314. That should line up with S&P futures right around 4,000 or so. And then that's where I kind of want to just exit some longs and see where we go from there. If we start breaking higher, 40-40, then we can start going from there. That would be a nice bear market rally or the bottom. We don't know. Again, we have a lot to go. We have a lot of earnings to go as well. We have Apple, Amazon on Thursday. We have Microsoft on Wednesday. We have Boeing on Wednesday. We have Visa on Tuesday. And we have Mike. They already said Microsoft. What else is reporting this week? Let's go and take a look. I went ahead and retweeted it. If I could find it here. And of course, this is running slow. Let's see. All right, let's go and bring this up. Here we go. We have UPS on Tuesday, Coca-Cola on Tuesday, General Motors on Tuesday. General Motors is actually really cheap in terms of PE. So let's see that forecast. McDonald's, we have Alphabet on Tuesday after close, Microsoft and Visa. So that's not on Wednesday, that's on Tuesday. Wednesday before open, Shopify, Boeing, and Spotify, Waste Management, Sherwin-Williams, Hilton, Humana. After the close on Wednesday, Meta is going to be big. We want to see what Meta is talking about in terms of their guidance. What are they investing in the metaverse? Daily active users, Ford, also another cheap company in terms of PE multiples. Qualcomm, we're going to watch that as well. I also own Qualcomm, Teladoc, Etsy, Lam Research Service now, tons of stuff. And then Thursday's the big one, Apple, Amazon, Roku, Intel. That's after the close. And then Friday will be a pretty much an oil-centric day as the biggest refiners, ExxonMobil and Chevron, will report with Procter and Gamble as well. Back to the VIX, back to some macro. Let's go ahead and get back to the VIX. Again, the gap to fill here is right at 2314. Let's go ahead and add an alert there. That's what we're looking for. The next step would be, again, that will be back below the trend line, which is what I'm expecting. So again, I expect a little bit of a push today running into the Fed, and then they could probably just sell it there. Back to yields. Yields is key. We have a gap to fill to the upside. Yields are continuing to fall as expected. I'm long TLT, which is bonds. You can see now we're holding the 100-day moving average on the daily. We need to break that, guys. That's the level we need to break. So 27.18 on TNX, which is your 10-year yield. That's what I'm expecting to break down. As maybe the Fed will talk about a pivot, meaning pause and see for more inflationary data. That'll sink bond yields rather quickly. Let's go to crude oil. Again, something that we've talked about daily. Holding that 200-day right at 94.05. Again, if we break down below that, we'll get to 90. If we get to 90, I want to go ahead and add some longs in terms of Chevron or the refiners. Let's go to the big boy here, the dollar index. Now, the dollar index on the daily is holding on to that 20-day moving average. We know the 20-day moving average is a kind of indicator of at least some short-term trend movement. So again, we're below it. Let's see if we can get back to 105. That's the level I'm looking for. We'll get as close to the 50-day. If the dollar continues to fall, especially with a Fed pivot, we have a lot more to go, and then we actually have stocks to go a little higher. So the dollar needs to fall if you're an equity bull. If you're an equity bear and you're expecting to short, you want the dollar to go higher. So that's what you're looking for. Again, weaker dollar, commodities are going to bounce, which is a good thing for those who are invested in gold or invested in oil or whatever other commodity or those refiners. The dollar will go down usually in tandem with 10-year yields because it's actually a basis on future rate hikes or monetary policy tightening. So that's really the stuff I'm looking for in terms of the market today. I don't think we're going to do much in terms of trading, like trying to go too heavy, trying to go too crazy. No, taking a look at S&P, kind of holding that 50-day. Again, nice bounce this morning. We got as high as around 39.85. But again, as long as we kind of stay above 39.50, the market should hold up as that trend line here is showing us. So the stuff that I'm looking for to go long in terms of charts, let's take a look at IWM. IWM, a break of 181. I expect a little more upside. Let's see if we break that. In terms of Qs, again, it's so dependent on rates. I got to take away these little grayscale here. That's after hours movement. 300 is your support here. If we start breaking above 305.84, then we can start taking a look at targets around 308 on that wick to the upside. And that's really it, guys. We have a lot of stuff happening. Today will be the calm before the proverbial storm. Good morning, John. Good morning. John says, good morning, Carlos. Good thoughts on Apple calls this week. Well, Apple calls, the problem is that they report earnings. So expect the IV, implied volatility, to be a little high. I wouldn't want to trade Apple directly. May want to go ahead and take a look at Qs instead, maybe a little cheaper. But in terms of Apple, again, if you break above 155, let's go to the daily. We're above major moving averages. You really need to hold this 100-day. If you can get above 155 and hold that, you could target 158, the 200-day moving average, and get out before the earnings. But Apple is holding up very well. Again, if we're going to do that trend line that we had in terms of S&P futures, this is the daily. We can go by here. This is back from May, and then we could just connect this here, and then I could just extend it to the right. And you could see just a nice clean break since July, which the market has shown us anyway. So the S&P, as we know, is pretty damn weird close to Apple since it's so freaking such a big part of it. So again, we had this green trend line here that we broke back in May 9th, and then we continued low, started a base here, and now we're breaking back. If we can get back to this trend line around 162, the worst might be over for Apple, in my opinion. So again, the last time that we broke below that trend line, if you really look at it, is really COVID. We've been kind of, ever since we got out of the worst of COVID in July of 2020, we've been kind of holding that trend line up. We finally broke it down. We had the same thing in April of 2020, and we bounced back. So again, right here would have been the buy level if you had that trend line, and you would have rode it all the way up to possibly 182 back from 110. If we can get back to around 162, guys, then Apple, my largest holding, would probably be worth getting some more. But again, that's big resistance here. So again, we have a lot of earnings that see, exactly their forecasting and their cash usage or whatever their earnings have been. Morning, boss. Let's get it this week. JJ, thank you. Let's rock and roll. Mornings, boss. Next support for XPEV, another China company. Let's go ahead and bring this up on the daily. We'll bring up on a daily 2-year to give us a little more color. Really, your support is right around $18.51, maybe $19. Not too far from where it is currently. So again, if you're looking to buy shares at that price. That's probably the best one to go by. 1711 being the lowest point in the past 3 years. I think that was an IPO then. So yeah, Mattia, I would wait for that around 18.50, $19 range. In terms of the market, again, really just kind of evaluating, observing. No need to go crazy. You have so much going on this week. No need to just blow all the chips right away. Again, kind of getting a little bit of a fade here. Let's go ahead and keep an eye on the dollar. Let's keep an eye on the VIX. If the dollar does break down below 106.11, that'll be a nice confirmation down to 105. And if we go ahead and take a look at the volatility index, again, we need 2314 as your gap to fill. MicroStrategy, yes, that's Bitcoin again. So if you have MicroStrategy, I think it's M. Let me see if I can get the right one. MicroStrategy stock. Let me see the MSTR. That's right. MSTR. And again, it's just going to move with Bitcoin. So again, if you're bullish Bitcoin, you're going to be bullish MSTR. And if you're not bullish Bitcoin, then you probably want to short this. In terms of the daily, you have 317.21 as your major resistance, the 100-day moving average. So again, if you're looking to go long, you need to break that first. So again, you can go ahead and place an alert at 317.22. If you're looking to rebuy at a lower price, remember we talked about that log chart on Bitcoin. So again, it's going to follow that Bitcoin kind of analog. If you think Bitcoin is going to go down, you're going to short it. If you think the bottom is in terms of Bitcoin, I do around 18.3. That's the level I bought in on that log chart on Bloomberg. Again, then you're looking for more upside. So again, a break of 317.22, that's probably where you're looking for, and you could target 451 if you're trading calls or you're just trading equities itself. You're going from the 100 to the 200 day, and then if that breaks, well, you can scale out, you can scale in, add some more, or you can just take your profit. But again, if you're looking at MSTR, you're looking at Bitcoin. And you could just compare it here. It's a very similar chart. You have that base, and you do have a gap to fill on the Bitcoin futures right around 28,821. And then you have another gap to fill around 35,271. Again, it looks like support. We should get that bounce again, really based on the Fed. That's really it. That's really all we have to look for. Nice day in F1 last weekend. Feel sorry for Ferrari fans. Mercedes got a double podium. Max Verstappen's a beast. I wish Mercedes had a better car. I don't know if you guys saw the race. It was a nice, clean race, other than a couple of crashes in there, but it was actually pretty quick. Well done, Team Mercedes. Nice to see that. But we're getting close to football season. I can't wait. A lot more sports coming, and should be exciting. But we got all the excitement we need for this week. So let's go ahead and just kind of watch and evaluate. That's all we need to do, guys. Just be patient. We've had a really, really great month this month. I was doing some numbers. We had a 83% win loss. Now, again, that's easy or nice when the stock market is going up, and we had some volatility and some analysis go our way. But again, we're not done. We have a lot more to go. And let's see if this trend line holds up. Futures traders are updated on where they are. They're up about 25 handles or so on S&P futures, just holding. Nothing else, no other options trade open. I even took out my unusual options activity on TLT. That was about a gain of, what was that gain on that TLT position? Right around 36%. And again, just wanted to keep the books clean. We got out, I had the 120 calls for September 16th. We got out of those. So well done, team. All right, guys, have a great rest of your morning. I will catch you guys later this afternoon for the aftermarket recap. Cheers, guys.